Otherwise, if he's talking a different language, we can't understand it. Alayhi wa ala is a human being. The other side of the ayah. Yuha ilay. I receive wahi. One, I am a human being. The other one, I receive wahi. قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ يُوحَى إِلَيَّ. Oftentimes, we have to look at the entire ayah and try to separate to understand what it means. Everything in this universe has two sides. Just like this ayah has two sides to it, things in this world have two sides to it. Side that you can see, and side that is conceited. There's an apparent side, an obvious side to things, and there's a conceited side to things. And in order for you to understand the full truth of anything, you really need to know both the apparent side of that thing and the conceited side of that thing as well. I'll give you examples, and most of you know the examples. The earth that we live on. The earth that we live on seems very straightforward. You drive, look, everything is straight. People in the old days, you all know, and Galileo and all of them, when he was trying to tell them that Earth was not really flat, he was almost killed. People would, what do you mean it's not flat? It looks flat to me. So many times we believe facts just because our senses tell us that they are real. Are they really real? That's the point. Just because your senses tell you something is real does not necessarily mean it's real. Al-Quran wants you to learn this. Why? Because we are limited by what we know. Right? And what we know is very limited. We are limited by what we know. Absolutely. And what we know is very limited. Okay. So you look at Earth, you think it's flat. It looks flat. Seems flat, feels flat. It means what? It's probably flat. It's not flat. So therefore, if you only look at Earth from only basar, from a vision point of view, from senses point of view, from the obvious side of Earth, you will only get half the truth. But oftentimes, half-truth are not truth at all. They're false. But yet al-basira, which is represented by the heart, the mind, and the soul. Al-qalb wal-aql wal-ruh. Al-basar is represented by the senses, the vision, the hearing, the eyes, etc., etc. But al-basira is represented by the heart, the mind, and the soul. The heart, the mind, and the soul tell you that Earth is not really flat. Earth is actually oval. Another example. This same Earth that we live on seems very quiet, very nice, a lot of greenery in this Earth. But that's only what's obvious to you. And all of you know, because of the intellect, the mind, because al-basira, you know that Earth actually is not that peaceful at all. Because we are living on a shell of Earth, actually, which is very, very narrow, very thin compared to Earth. The core of Earth is a boiling magma reaching thousands and thousands and thousands of temperature. If it's released on anything, it'll destroy it, as you see in the volcanoes. So really, one obvious side is not it. You have to know the conceited side as well, that you can't really see with your senses. The tree. When you look at a tree, what do you see from a tree? You look at a tree, you see you see a stem, you see branches, you see leaves. But if someone comes and tells you, well, the tree consists of stem, branches, and leaves, is he telling the truth? Because he forgot the most important part of the tree, the roots. See, the eye, the basar, sees the stem, branches, and sees the leaves. But the basar, the vision, does not see the roots. Only the basira, only the mind, the heart, and the soul see the roots. Only if you say that the tree consists of roots in addition to stem, branch, then you have given the full truth. Therefore, in order for us to know the full truth, we have to have an encompassing idea of the entire picture. You cannot say this. You cannot give half of the picture. Al-Quran Kareem wants us to learn these things. As-Sirah Nabawiyya Sharifah wants you to learn these things. In this ayah, Allah wants to take you to these ways so you can understand what the meanings of the ayahs are. Therefore, في القرآن الكريم, Allah says, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, إنها لا تعمى الأبصار ولكن تعمى القلوب التي في الصدور. The meaning of the ayah, visions, the sight is not blind. Al-Basar, which is the sight, is not blind. Allah says, إنها لا تعمى الأبصار ولكن what is blind? القلوب. القلب أعمى. القلوب التي في الصدور. The heart is blind. The ear is blind. The basar is fine. Okay. So Al-Quran is what, look at what he tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. وَتَرَاهُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَيْكَ وَلَا يُبْصِرُونَ. You see them, the meaning of the ayah, you see them looking at you but they don't see. What do you mean looking and they don't see? Because they're looking with their basar, that's blind. They're looking with their senses. They only see that the tree is only the stem, the branches and the leaves. They don't see the roots. Oftentimes the concealed side is the one that dictates the apparent side. Because the roots dictate what kind of tree it is. They look at the Prophet ﷺ, مَا لِهَذَا الرَّسُولِ يَمْشِي فِي الْأَسْوَاقِ يَأْكُلُ الطَّعَامِ وَيَمْشِي فِي الْأَسْوَاقِ. Why is this Prophet, if he's a messenger, why is he walking among people? Why does he go to the markets to buy things? What are they looking with? They're looking at the Prophet ﷺ with their eyes, with their basar. They're not looking with their basira. Because their basira is blind, as the Quran says. The problem with al-qalb al-a'ma, or the blind heart, is disastrous. Because those who have blind hearts nowadays in the dunya will end up having blind hearts also in the akhirah. Those who are blind here will be blind there. But we don't mean by blind vision. Notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran Kareem, وَمَنْ كَانَ فِي هَذِهِ أَعْمَى فَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ أَعْمَى وَضَلُّ سَبِيلًا. Whoever is blind in this dunya, he's more blind in the akhirah and more misguided. What's the point here? Number one, visions by themselves, al-basar is not enough by itself. Because Allah says, وَمَنْ كَانَ فِي إِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارُ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. Number two, whoever is blind in this dunya is blind in the akhirah. Why? Because they couldn't see in this dunya. And the dunya is the farm of the akhirah. And therefore they will be more blind in the akhirah. Number three, then what? What kind of heart should we have? A blind heart? A blind heart won't serve a cause. A blind heart will lead to distraction or destruction. Then what would we have? Allah tells you, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the day, يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. قلب, salim, means pure, receptive. Notice, إِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارِ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. Sights are not blind, the eyes are not blind, but the hearts are blind. Then Allah says, which means whoever is blind in the dunya is blind in the akhirah and the hereafter. And Allah then says, which means in a day where nothing helps. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعْ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ. No money and offspring and power and all these things do not help. What helps? إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Only those who don't come with a blind heart. They come with a pure heart, with an open heart.